your host, Trevor J. White, and welcome to today's show. Today's topic is this: your inconsistencies are killing you. Sit back and relax, and welcome to the show. So, I'm super excited. I'm actually not in Hawaii right now. I am in Dana Point, California. This you're experiencing is a Dana Point sunset. I had to remember what the hell it was called. All right, it's a sunset. At the sunset. It's about 6:30 in the afternoon, the evening, whatever you want to call that here. Here just doing some work. So I'm super excited about today's show because it's a powerful topic, right? Your inconsistencies are killing you. They flat out are killing you. To the end of the earth, they're killing you. They're literally destroying every part of who you are, what you're up, like everything about you. Yeah, your inability to get any results you want in life, or your ability, either one, is literally directly tied to the fact that you have no ability to be consistent in your actions, the things that you do, the directions that you choose to actually go after. Right? And to help illustrate that, I'm going to talk about myself because I have struggled with this my entire life. My entire life, I've dealt with this game. I call this the roller coaster to hell. Right? It's the game of perpetually doing the same shit over and over, expecting different results. Einstein calls it insanity. I happen to agree with him, because it's ridiculous to expect that somehow your life is going to manifest a different result when you were unwilling to do the thing that's required in order for you to get the thing, right? You have to put in the reps, you have to do the time, you have to do the work. This one started for me at a really young age, where I found myself, like, I would start out on a job. Like, by the time I graduated high school, see, I was a little entrepreneur as a kid. Then I got a job, right? The J-O-B. My very first actual job, I think, was McDonald's, something like that. But that wasn't my first one. I don't know what my first one was. That was like somewhere in the mix. But before I graduated high school, I had worked at every fast food restaurant in our town. And I didn't live in like a teensy town. It wasn't a big place, but it wasn't teensy. I had over 15 jobs by the time I had graduated high school. By the time I like 15, right? The longest I maintained a job was 3 months. And I would laugh about it. I'm like, it's no big deal. I can just go get another job. I can just go get another job. And I would start out, I'd be ambitious. I remember getting a job at Pizza Hut, and I was like, I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm going to go all in on this job. And I loved it, and it was great. I was making pizzas, and just, I was passionate about it, right? Because I'm a hard worker. And I've prided myself my whole life on being a hard worker. So I'm this hard worker who's doing everything he possibly can to, be the best he can be, right? And I last 3 months. Right? 3 months. And it starts out hot and heavy. I enjoy it. I like it. I'm willing to sacrifice. I'll pick up extra shifts. I was like my MO. And then at about 2 month mark, I start hating the job. And then at about 3 months, I'm like, this is boring. There's something else out there for sure. This is not my path. This is a different strategy. Right? And you could chalk that up that this was just me in high school. But I want you to consider that, nope, that was not me. That was not how my pattern was. My pattern continued like this throughout most of my adult life, up until my 40s, right? Where I finally became so fed up, so exhausted with this roller coaster. This is why I call it the roller coaster to hell, because that's exactly what it felt like. Like, I could never seem to get ahead. I never was able to build a career for myself in any job that I had. Not because I wasn't capable, but because as soon as I would hit a window, like the fun, excitement, honeymoon phase would wear off, I would quit. I would end up losing interest. I would lose desire. I would lose motivation. And then I would think the grass was greener somewhere else. I was going to be like, oh, well, over there, that's where I need to go. That's the career. That's the job. I would change industries. I would change from everything you could possibly think of, right? I didn't actually graduate high school. I didn't graduate high school because I got bored. I didn't see the point, right? I didn't graduate. I went to college, but I didn't graduate college. Why? Because I got bored. I didn't see the point. So many careers, so many jobs. One job I had the longest, but only because it was how it happened, meaning I didn't actually work at that particular job the longest at any one given time. I just kept getting hired back by them. I would get a job for this grocery store called Smith's Food and Drug, and then I would be ambitious, get promoted, and I would move quick up the ranks. And I would do this, and then I would see something shiny on the other side of whatever, right? Half of the time it was when I was taking my stab at being an entrepreneur. So I would have the job, and then I was like, oh, this new business that I'm going to start is going to totally work. And I would start it, and before it made any sense, I had no revenue coming in, but before it made any sense, I quit the job. Then I'm all in on the business. I'm like doing the business thing, or doing the business, it's not working, so where do I go? I go back to get the job. And I did this pattern. You guys are going to, this is like, it has to be a record. I don't know anyone I've ever talked to in my life that has the same statistic that I have. I own the market on this statistic. Here's the statistic. I got hired to the same company, Smith's Food and Drug. And this is not an exaggeration. I could probably go in their records and show you proof. 11 times from the age of 18 to 38. 18 to 38, I was hired by them 11 times. I have no idea how they kept hiring me back on. I had no idea, right? But I kept going through life, and I'm like, well, this next thing's my thing. This next thing is my thing. And I would go. My 11 times at Smith's, I ended up that last time, I got promoted up to a division trainer. I was an assistant store director. Like I moved up in the ranks. I was working in corporate office. I was training all the divisions, 132 stores, 7 states. I was training all of the managers how to do their protocols and their personal development, all this stuff. I had success, right? The problem is I was so inconsistent. I wouldn't even stay. I got bored and I quit. I moved into the next thing and to the next thing. And then as I became an entrepreneur, guess what? That didn't stop. Because the problem was I had a deep-rooted pattern of inconsistency. I would rely on my natural talent, my natural abilities. Like, I want you to think about this. Here's the problem with that. You know what the painful consequence of this is? I was unfulfilled in everything I've done. Everything I had done up to this point when I finally got off the damn roller coaster. But the longer I was on that roller coaster, the more unfulfilled I got. My divorce from my ex-wife, I can contribute in part to the fact that I was so inconsistent in even my relationships. People stopped being able to even trust me. I would say one thing, and then they would just say, yeah, we'll see how long it lasts. And I would walk around and talk about my big visions, my big dreams, my big plans, and no one heard me anymore. I was the boy who cried wolf about what Trevor was going to do. I fell in love with someday. I fell in love with the fact that someday I'm going to have this. Someday I'm going to do this. I remember I was a young kid, one of my jobs, 7-Eleven, working at 7-Eleven, and this guy comes pulling in a red Ferrari. First time I'd seen one in real life. I'm looking at this Ferrari and I'm like, man, someday I'm going to have that car. And then I proceeded to tell myself that for the next 25 years. Someday. I fell in love with someday and a new direction. It was like getting a hit of Adderall, taking a snort of cocaine. And my world was falling down around me, completely crumbling to the ground. I had no sustained anything, no growth. All my friends are buying houses, they're moving on, they've been at their careers, they're promoted, they're starting to raise family, they're buying stuff, they're doing this. And yeah, there were times that I made a lot of money, but guess what? I would spend it as fast as I made it. I built no real stability in my life. I continued this cycle over and over and over, only to find I was depressed, suicidal, could never be happy, didn't know where to turn to seek for happiness, and I just felt trapped and lost. I didn't know what to do. I felt like giving up. I felt like all hope was lost. And then I was just the failure. And what's worse, for the average person, they wouldn't really care. Meaning they're all right, whatever. They'll just go get a job, do the thing. I'd been searching to fulfill my potential because I always knew I was meant for more. The problem is I was never going to get it. Never. This showed up in my body. This showed up in my marriage. This showed up as me as a parent. This showed up as me inside of money, jobs, and then as an entrepreneur, the business I ran, I would get tired, I would get bored, and I would change directions, change industries, change careers. And the worst part of it all is the fact that I'm sitting there blaming everyone else. I'm blaming in society. I'm blaming environments. I'm not taking actual accountability. I'll say that I'm taking accountability, but I'm a liar. I'm lying to myself. I'm lying to the world. And what's worst about it is not only did others not trust me, I didn't trust me. I no longer believed I could pull it off because this had happened so often. This cycle, this roller coaster. Because I want you to think about what happens when you're on a roller coaster. When you're on a roller coaster, it starts out and it's exhilarating, it's fun, it's fast, it's fancy, it's going left, it's going right, it's going up, it's going down. You're like, whoa, hang on. But where does a roller coaster always end? Right where you started. And so my whole life, I was going fast, I was going up, I was going down, I was going left, I was going right. If you ever saw me, you'd be like, man, Trevor's a mover and a shaker. The Problem is, I got nowhere. I literally ended up back where I started over and over and over again. This cycle must change for you. You cannot continue this. This will lead to absolute disaster in your life, and you will be the guy sitting there at the end of your life wondering, what if? What if I had just stuck to one thing? What if I truly created discipline in my life? What if I had truly just stayed there? Because I can look back to many careers, opportunities, many businesses that I had, that had I stayed in them, what I could have turned them into, the careers I could have had, the companies I could have grown. Instead, I get bored. I quit the job, I sell the company, start over. And that's fine when you're 15. But when you're 30, you're 40, in your 50s, there isn't time left. No day is guaranteed. Every day you wake up is a good day and it's a blessing, but it's not a guarantee. Which means if you keep this pattern going, you stand zero chance of ever achieving what you want out of this life, and you will spend all of it in quiet desperation, unfulfilled. You'll be the guy who just says, I give up. Give up. I'm just going to go. I'm going to work at Home Depot. I'm going to rent this little small apartment. I'm going to work at Home Depot, live in this little apartment. My wife will end up leaving me because she can't put up with it. She won't tolerate it. She's not going to tolerate the yo-yo, the roller coaster, because guess what? While you're roller coastering around and you're feeling unfulfilled, you are destroying the lives of your family, your wife, your husband, your children. They're just hanging on to dear life. But there comes a breaking point in everybody's game where they will leave you. You will be divorced. You will find yourself all alone, wandering, aimlessly, waiting to die. So take a look at your world. Take a look at your world across body, being, balance, and business. I want you to look at that whole game for you. Where in your world do you need to get off the damn roller coaster? First, you got to identify that you're on the roller coaster. So don't even worry about getting off right now. Let's just look at where you're at. Or where are you at? Where are you on it? Where are you on this roller coaster? I was on it for so many years in so many ways, and it was brutal because I started to see it showing up everywhere, in everything I did. And no amount of wishing, no amount of hoping, no amount of praying was ever going to get me off the roller coaster, ever. So where are you on the roller coaster? Where's that roller coaster for you? And once you've identified that roller coaster, what can you do about it? Inside of the game of Pivot, that's what we do. This is what we do. We take you away from divorce, away from alcohol and drugs to sedate, away from a body that is a yo-yo up and down, away from the inconsistent patterns operated with no operating system, not realizing that there's a framework that you can follow. And we do this every single day with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs, employees, men, women, all trying to do one thing, just be fulfilled in this life. It's not about making money. It's not about being the fittest person in the world. It's about loving your life. And every day waking up being happy about the circumstances that you've created for yourself. So I've got a free book that I want you to get access to. The link is below. Follow the link. Go get the book. Start doing it today. Take care of yourself today. That's all I got for you. It's a powerful topic today. And I'm going to continue this series as we talk about the inconsistencies, what it's like to be on the roller coaster, what it's like to be on this roller coaster to hell, and how the heck do you get off of it? How do you get off this roller coaster? So, as always, this is your boy, Trevor J. White, reminding you that you are just one pivot away